Mama, I remember one time I had this social media follower who sent me an email saying that they was a real big fan and they wanted to set up a meeting with me downtown at the office and talk some business. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess I could do that. So I decided I was going to head on downtown to meet this follower. And when I got there, I sat down at the desk and he was like, can you pronounce your name again for me, young fella? And I was like, it's Pollo Wang. He said, Pollo Wang, Pollo Wang, Pollo. Oh, okay, that stands for chicken, right? I said, yes, sir. Okay, Pollo Wang. You like chicken? You like chicken wings? I said, yes, sir. He said, okay, I get it. Well, my name is Mr Exec Tive, and I like to do some business with you. But first, I'd like for you to come cook for me and the family so we can see what you got going on, if you don't mind. I said, okay, I guess I could do that. So I decided I was going to go over his house and cook for him and the family. And when I got there, he was like, what's on the menu, Mr. Pollo Wang? I said, well, I'm thinking about putting together a little Cajun country fried chicken breast fillets. And I'm going to season that down with a little Pollo Wang Cajun seasoning. And I'm going to take those fillets and I'm going to smother it into some crawfish gravy. And I'm going to put that right over some cheese grits. And he said, oh, man, that sounds really, really tasty. You don't mind if you show me how to do that, do you? I might need a recipe for this. You got a recipe? I said, no, I ain't got no recipe written for it yet, but I'll show you what I'm doing now. So I got me some butter and I put that in the pan and I sauteed me some red onions in there and I got some Pollo Wang Cajun seasoning and I seasoned that down and I got me some flour and I put that in there to thicken up a bit. And as I was putting those crawfish tails into that gravy, he was all over my shoulder talking about some crawfish. I don't know if I had that. Is that good? Crawfish, I don't know. Crawfish tails. I said, yeah, it's going to be good. So I got me some broth and I poured that in there and I let that sit for a bit. And I went and got those chicken fillets out the flour and I started dropping them into some hot oil and I was frying them till they was golden brown and crispy. He was all over my shoulder talking about some, that looks real good. That looks real good. Crunchy and delicious. I said, I appreciate it. But he was looking at me crazy like, you don't mind to have a piece, do you? Yeah, I said, no, I don't mind. So I broke him off a piece of that crispy chicken and he was like, pretty good. I said, man, I appreciate it. So I put those chicken fillets into that crawfish gravy and I let that smother for a bit. And I started on my cheese grits. So I poured me some grits into a little salt water with some little shredded cheese. And as I was stirring up my grits and he was like, Polo, I was like, yes, sir. He was like, for real? They don't know nothing about this. And I'm like, hey, man, that's my line. But I went on here and put the place together with a little spoonful of those cheese grits and that smothered chicken and that crawfish gravy. As I pulled that right across the top and I garnished it with a little parsley and I went on and started making me a plate. And he was like, Polo, what you eating? I said, well, I'm going to put together a little smothered chicken crawfish gravy sandwich. And he was like, oh, that looks pretty good too. And I appreciate you coming through and maybe we can handle a little business, maybe do a little cooking show.